Alright, let's see. And yeah, there we go. So, this is it. This is the end of an era. The end of a story, 9 seasons in the making. I never imagined that it would last this long, but the odds were well and truly defied, taking what could have easily ended at season 3 and went on for 6 more. In the process, we got spin-offs and a theatrical motion picture, both successful in their own right, of course. But now we must say goodbye. We must say goodbye to My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. The series finale was something that I'd been dreading since the announcement that Season 9 was going to be the last. While there was a degree of excitement to see how it all concludes, that this would be the final adventure of the main 6 after all these years of investment genuinely saddened me. While I understood why it had to end, my selfishness did not want the show to go and continue onwards for more seasons. But I guess it's better to end now than be like The Simpsons. The build-up for the finale was pretty shaky at best. We got leaks and early releases, including the finale. This caused series co-director Jim Miller to temporarily leave Twitter, as he and his crew were harassed non-stop. This is not okay. There was also a petition to remake the show from season 3 onwards. This is also not okay. Also, there was a petition for the show to have a season 10. This is fine. Ill-advised and, misguided, but, it's fine. So, the day finally arrived, and the finale was unveiled for all to see. How did it turn out? Was it the epic conclusion that some expected? Or was it a Game of Thrones level letdown that allegedly ruined the series forever? The finale consisted of 3 parts. The ending of the end, parts 1 and 2, and an epilogue episode called The Last Problem. Personally, I would have called the finale the end of the beginning, but that might have been hinting that Generation 4 was going to take place in the same universe as Generation 5, which may or may not happen. Throughout Season 9, we have been seeing the internal machinations of a being named Grogar, who had brought back the most vicious villains of the last 9 seasons. Sombra, T-Rex, Cozy Glow, and Bug Waifu. Queen Chrysalis. Sombra and his flamboyant self got vaporized in the season premiere, so Grogar had the other 3 work together. We got a pair of pretty great episodes focused on them, so this finale is a culmination of that development. Right out the gate, we start strong. Queen Chrysalis is starting Discord, amongst other ponies, to turn them against each other. And when she returns, she, along with T-Rex and Cozy Glow, decide to enact their plan to betray Grogar and take over Equestria for themselves, and... Grogar was Discord the entire time. Huh. You all remember The Last Jedi?
Boo, it sucked!
I don't care, you're gonna remember it and you're gonna like it! Anyway, you remember how Snoke was going to be the big bad of the new trilogy? He was kept in darkness, his voice booming, his origins vague and mysterious. Too bad he's dead now! I personally thought that was pretty funny. But this feels like the same kind of bait and switch. It was a surprise, sure, and the reaction from our villains...
That was unexpected.
...was pretty great too. But the reasoning feels weird. Later on, Discord admits to bring the villains back for one final challenge against Twilight to prove that she will be a good leader. So I take it his whole work together plan was to ensure that Twilight would take them out simultaneously? At first, before his explanation, I thought that Discord was attempting some kind of reformation for the villains, showing them that working together has its benefits, and friendship is magic and all that stuff. But unfortunately, it would go horribly wrong. That might have worked better. I mean, it's not to say that the explanation that the show gives is bad per se, but it doesn't feel as fleshed out as it could be. So naturally, the news makes Twilight doubt her past victory of Sombra, and questions whether she would be a good leader as she feels the victory was staged. But eventually, she, her friends, and the Pillars band together to fight the trio. First, there's the Pillars versus T-Rex, which goes rather poorly for them. I personally would have liked more of a fight akin to the bridge scene in Kung Fu Panda, in which they do super awesome moves before they get taken out, unfortunately. This fight makes them look like pushovers. I understand that some of them are old and all, but, it felt kind of anticlimactic. Next is the long-awaited rematch between Chrysalis and Starlight, which is a lot more elaborate and pretty cool. There's also a very cute moment beforehand where Trixie and Starlight hug, which came across like a in case I don't make it moment. If this was TVPG, more things would happen.
And I need you now tonight.
But that's neither here or there, what we got was good. Anyway, Starlight loses the fight, but at least she got some awesome moves in before she got overpowered. Then there's Cozy Glow versus the main 6 and the princesses, which has the princesses' magic get taken away, and the fight goes south rather quickly. The episode effectively ends when Twilight is forced to flee as her friends hold them off. Part 2 is the fallout, where Twilight's friends are briefly captured. Discord decides to help them escape as a way to atone for his mistakes. When the group finds Twilight, she's too scared to find a way to save Equestria, but is encouraged by every pony to stand and fight. This leads to what is honestly a pretty epic showdown, echoing Twilight's kingdom, as there are a couple of anime-inspired moves that were energetically animated and scored. This then culminates in all of the allies Twilight and her friends made throughout the series coming in to help, including Tempest Shadow? Of course, she's not voiced by Emily Blunt, so she remains silent for the finale. In the end, the villains are defeated and encased in stone bug waifu.
All around me are familiar faces, worn out places, worn out faces.
And thus the two-parter comes to a close. Anyway, it feels appropriate to review the climax first, before moving on to the epilogue. As a closer to the plotline set up by the season, this is very good, just about great. It was fun, exciting, and a bit emotional, and had a few pop culture references that made me smile. The cast was uniformly excellent, and the pacing was fast and quite brilliant. And the villains were extremely evil. My main complaint is a rather selfish one, but I would like to see more of the villains. There's a quick line by Discord where he makes fun of T-Rex for not being as good as his father, which got me thinking. We never really got much of a history lesson for these three. Discord and Nightmare Moon and even Sombra had some backstory, but T-Rex, Cozy Glow, and Chrysalis are all wrapped in mystery. Unless, with the exception of Cozy Glow, you read the comics, but it's unclear if they are canon or not. I would have liked to seen their backstories to get some understanding about who they were and why they became evil, especially Chrysalis for obvious reasons. More importantly, I felt turning them to stone, while thematically appropriate, felt kind of weird, as the season had very brief moments that came across as hints for reformation, such as Chrysalis briefly liking the idea of friendship, and T-Rex being curious by a bird almost flying into him. I personally thought it was going to lead to the trio becoming something akin to anti-heroes, and helping to take down Grogar, but then the show snoked us and revealed that it was Discord the whole time. Not to mention Reformation being thrown out the window, and Chrysalis straight up threatened to murder Spike in front of all his friends. I was under the impression that since most of the antagonists were getting Reformations this season, that the trio would be the ultimate test. But, admittedly, it's hard to completely fault this. This two-parter shows that while they were very likable antagonists, they were too far gone for any believable sort of reformation, and if they were somehow redeemed, it would take a whole other season to solidify it. And the series only has one more episode left, so as it stands, this is more of a fanboy nitpick rather than a serious storytelling error. Now we get to the last problem. Oh no, not a problem with the finale, but the final episode is literally called The Last Problem. This episode jumps ahead a couple decades, and Twilight is now a full-grown princess, and looking like a purple Celestia, which I'm not complaining about because Celestia was majestic as heck. The episode centers around her top student, Luster Dawn, who doesn't see the value in friendship, and so Twilight tells her the story about her princess coronation, and how even though it didn't go quite as planned, her friends stuck by her. I was excited when I learned that the final episode would be an epilogue, as it gave the writers an opportunity to allow the audience to say goodbye to the characters they had grown to love and care for. Going forward a decade or so was a surprising decision, but one that I welcomed, as it showcased that Twilight's time as ruler of Equestria was something positive. The flashback structure I felt was strong, and provided closure for the characters such as the former princesses, as we do not see them again once they make their sweet-natured, if somewhat bittersweet exit. In fact, the flashbacks were some of the best writing I've seen on the show. It combined slice-of-life shenanigans with a sense of finality that gave it unexpected warmth. Everything goes horribly wrong at the coronation, but once it's all said and done, the main six look back on the day and have a laugh. And though I'm laughing with them, knowing that this was truly the last problem, I started to feel sad that this was the end. And then, the song. As you all know, My Little Pony is no stranger to musical numbers, and while they did get rarer and rarer the more the series went on, when they cropped up, it was something to be excited about. While the climax episodes lacked a song, the epilogue more than makes up for it with one final ballad to close off the series. And let me tell you, I felt it was one of the best songs I've heard in the show. It's catchy, it's sweet, and the visuals accompanying it provide a window into what the characters have been up to during the time we did not see them. Pinkie Pie got married to Cheese Sandwich and had a kid. Rarity still runs a boutique, but it seems Yona and Sandbar are helping her out while hinting that the two have gotten together. Applejack remains on the farm with Big Mac and his wife Sugar Belle, along with their respective child, while revealing that Granny Smith died over the years. Rainbow Dash became captain of the Wonderbolts, and Fluttershy still runs her animal sanctuary, and likely married Discord. As for the other characters, Starlight runs the school with Sunburst and Trixie, while the rest of the student six became teachers, along with the Cutie Mark Crusaders. One curious omission were the former princesses, Celestia and Luna. While they do say that they were headed to Silver Shoals to enjoy retirement, we never get to see them relaxing and having fun. That brings up some questions. What happened to them? Did relinquishing their royalty somehow make them lose their immortality? Did age catch up to them quickly and they died? Am I thinking too much into it? Probably, but it would have been nice to see. I understand why they weren't shown. The sequence was meant to be Lester Dawn's introduction to Ponyville, as Twilight's journey started there, so it won't make sense to just randomly stop at Silver Shoals to see what Luna and Celestia are up to, but it would have been nice regardless. The same also goes to Princess Cadance, Shining Armor, and Flurry Heart. We don't see them again in the time skip, and the only real indication that everything's fine is that Flurry Heart ends up on the mural, which I suppose is good enough, but you know, since it's the final song and all, it would have been cool to see everybody else. Regardless, the song not only shows a new beginning, but also serves as a farewell from the cast to its audience. This is exemplified when each pony shows the others they have inspired along the way, including a blink and you'll miss it cameo of one Sunset Shimmer, finally canonizing Equestria Girls despite the animate disagreements from those who do not like the spinoff. Tee-hee-hee. So this is where I started losing it, and viewed the last seconds of the show in this vision. It was such a beautiful way to close off a near 10-year adventure, that I couldn't believe it was all coming down to this moment. And with the closing of the book, the Friendship is Magic saga comes to an end. There are rumors that are floating around that the next My Little Pony movie will be a bridge between generations 4 and 5. So perhaps this isn't completely finished, but only time will tell. There's also a recently announced Season 10 comic book series, which is pretty exciting. But when it comes to 22-minute episodes, this is the last one. Regardless, these final 3 episodes showcased everything I loved about this series, from when it started to when it ended. It hasn't been a perfect series, it had its low points, but its highs were soaring, and in my opinion, this finale soared. It felt like a love letter to its fans, who really made the series last as long as it did, and pulled out all the stops to make sure that all of its threads were closed off. Did I feel that some aspects could be improved? Of course I did. I mentioned them during the course of this review, but did it affect my enjoyment of the finale? No, it did not. I don't know what comes next other than what I just mentioned, and there's also more EquestriaGirls Girl stuff, but that will end shortly as well, unless it gets revived to make one final direct-to-Blu-ray or Netflix movie. I know my channel will still be up and running. I don't plan on going anywhere for the time being, though I will start branching out a bit. Despite that, I just want to say this. When I first heard about this series, I didn't want to believe that it was as good as others were saying. In fact, I was one of those who initially dismissed it. But when I finally started watching the show, it enraptured me. Its sincere and earnest tone charmed me in such a way that not many fantasy shows did. I fell in love with the world and the characters. I laughed, I cried, I had so much fun. There were good times and the not so good times, but I never stopped watching it. I never stopped loving the series. It was 9 years of my life where a lot changed over time, but the one thing that remained constant was my adoration for this show and the people behind it. And so, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you. Thank you, Jim Miller, Jason Thesian, James Woody Wooten, Megan McCarthy, Amy Keating Rogers, Jillian M. Barrow, Nick Confalone, Danny Liu, Tim Stubbe, Mike Maher. Sorry if I mispronounce your names, along with other names I might mispronounce. M.A. Larson, Daniel Ingram, William Anderson, the many producers, Cindy Morrow, Dave Polsky, Meriwether Williams, Charlotte Fullerton, Josh Haber, Ed Valentine, Corey Powell, Natasha Levinger, Scott Sonnenborn, Noel Benvenuti, Betsy McGowan, Joanna Lewis and Christine Sonko, Neil Dusedow, sorry again, Mike Vogel, Michael and Will Fox, David Rapp, M.M. DeMarco, Kevin Burke, Chris Doc Wyatt, Sammy Crowley and Whitney Weta, Josh Hamilton, Becky Wangberg, Kevin Lappin, Mary Chan, Barry Sefcik and Michael Platt, Brittany Jo Flores, Nicole Dubik, Joe Ballarini, Rita Hessau, Brian Hofield, Kaita Mpambara. Once again, sorry for any mispronunciations. Kim Bayer Johnson. Don't play me off, this is my review and I can do whatever I want. Anyway, Kim Bayer Johnson, Gregory Bonsignor, Gail Simone, Gillian Comerford, the many, many cast members, including Michelle Krieber, Claire Corlett, Madeline Peters, Nicole Oliver, Britt McKillett, Andrew Francis, Matt Hill, Peter New, Chantal Strand, Shannon Chan Kent, Kelly Ketzger, John Delancey, Kathleen Barr, Kelly Sheridan, Kathy Westluck, Andrea Libman, Tabitha St. Germain, Ashley Ball, Tara Strong, and last but certainly not least, Lauren Faust. None of this would have been possible without you first showing the community what friendship could be. And then you all shared this magic with me. And though you left early on, you were never forgotten. As for me, if there's anyone I've forgotten, I apologize. I wrote this speech late at night, so forgive me for any omissions. Just thank you for everything you have done. Now, if you'll excuse me, we have a changeling to free from her stone prison. Come on, Derpy, we got a queen to reform.
Do you know you're all my